guys. First of all, let me apologize for not getting out anything on my website. Excuse me, my YouTube site for a long time. There's just been a lot going on. Um, as a matter of fact, tomorrow, my wife is flying out to uh, Alabama to be with her mother. She's now on hospice, and so that's going on. But I just got back yesterday from yesterday. The days are very confused. I flew down. My wife and I flew down to Dallas, Texas on Friday. I spoke on Saturday at a special fundraiser event, and we flew back on Saturday. It was down to Dallas and back in 2 days. It's just been insane, very busy, and a lot of stuff's been going on. I just, anyway, let me just set the tone for this one. Um, a long time ago, Russell Flagg, who was a friend of mine, was a first chair violist for the New Orleans Symphony Orchestra for over 30 years. And I bought my viola off from him that his father had made. His father, Russell Flagg, it's not Russell Flagg Sr., it's something like that. Anyway, he built that viola, and I'm so proud to have it. I only paid $300 for it, and there's a whole story behind it. That's in another video. But in the meantime, what has happened, I recently got to thinking about it because I've been using that old German Strad to do my fiddling on. And I remembered what Russell Flagg said when I brought him this violin that I called the Castleton because I bought it from an old man that was dying. He had a little violin shop down in Castleton, Vermont. And I bought it from him for $35. I had to do a lot of repair on it. That's another video, but it had to do with the tail block letting go. It became unglued from the back, and I had to just take the top off. Everything had to be redone, and it's never had a problem since I did the repair work. It's been fantastic, and so it's a very unusual violin. I'll probably do another little bit on it when I show you this to you tomorrow night. I'm not going to do it now. My wife is going to be gone tomorrow night, and I'll go ahead and spend some time doing this in a separate video to be added onto this. But in the meantime, I was not real. I got this violin set up and played it a little bit, and it felt harsh. It didn't feel right to me, uh, primarily because I was so used to my really old German Strad that I had at the time that was so sweet. I mean, boy, you could, uh, you know, it took nothing to get beautiful tone out of it. For one thing, I was playing all the time. I mean, I was part of Maynard's Old Time Fiddlers. I was doing a lot of fiddling, and that violin just grew in sweetness and just fantastic. And I very stupidly sold it for $400 to pay my taxes on the house that I lived in. Stupid. But in the meantime, I took this violin, the Castleton, to Russ one evening, and I said, "Here, would you play this for me? Because I want to know what it sounds like." And he picked that up and he played it, and I said, "Wow." I was shocked. The sound was fantastic. And that's not how it sounded when I played it. But that's how, of course, this guy is a professional violist and all that kind of stuff for over 30 years. So I guess he should play pretty well. But he handed it back to me that night, and he said, "That's one for you to grow into." And just recently, I became kind of dissatisfied with my old German Strad that I got fixed up, and I really like it. Did a lot of work on it, came out great, but it just doesn't have the sound I'm looking for. So I said, "Okay, Russ, I hear you." He's long gone. But I said, "I hear you, Russ. I'm going to try it again." And I picked up this Castleton, and it's a no name violin, but I picked it up and I started playing, and I said, "Okay, I'm beginning to feel it, and I'm beginning to see it. And I'm beginning to hear the difference and the sound. And it's better than my old German Strat that I've been playing. And the more I play it, the nicer it sounds. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing this with you tomorrow night. This violin is unique, and we'll talk about it. Pretty much duplicate some of the things did when I did this. Um, Talked about this violin the first time around, oh, probably 2 years ago. But this is an interesting violin. Right now, I got brand new strings for it, so I'm looking forward to getting those on. I may wait till she's going to be gone for a week. I may wait till the strings break in, but I got brand new strings for it, some high quality ones. And right now the bridge is leaning. I'm not going to mess with it because when I do the strings, I'll straighten it back up. It's not dangerous, but it's leaning more than I like. And so what I want to do is go ahead and get the new strings on, set it up, play with it for a little bit, and then do the other half of this video. I'm getting really encouraged about this. This is beginning to feel like, thank you, Russ. I may be growing into it. He said that's one you can grow into. And yeah, it's kind of weird that after all these years, and that was a long, long time ago, that evening that I handed him this violin and he played it and he handed it back to me. He said, that's one you can grow into. It's been a long time. And thank you, Russ, for that word of encouragement. I think I'm going to try growing into it. So, hey, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Well, good evening. Here we are with part 2 of the video that I began last night. This is a Castleton. And there was no ticket in it to begin with, so there's no maker label in it at all. It's an odd instrument, but on the other hand, and if you look closely, some of the parts of it are extremely well done. The F holes, we'll begin with the F holes because they're probably the most glaring. Very, very stylized. They're way more rounded, and there's not the precision to them that you see in a regular violin. I want you to notice here this particular F hole over on the E side. The top of it just curves in. Okay, over here it has a little square off. Same thing down here. Same thing down here, although that's kind of botched a little bit. Anyway, yeah, it's an interesting. That looks like there may have been a hole in the wood or something, and they plugged it. I don't know. The interesting part of the top, aside from the fact that you've got this place where it looks like the wood grain pulled up, and they just were able to. You can feel that a little bit. They were able to sand it out and put something in it that would retain it so that it wouldn't peel up. And it hasn't in all these years. There's another place where it looks like they just patched it. The other part that's interesting is that the corners are really squared, big, heavy, and squared. And I used to think that the top was made by somebody else. In other words, that the back and the sides were all one maker, and then somebody came along later, and they had to, the top was ruined somehow, and they had to make the top to go ahead and put on this. But if you look at this, guess what you got back here? Let's see if we can zero. Okay, see that? Same kind of squaring off. Same kind of squaring off. And you know something that's interesting? That's not purfling. Those are little, and I don't know how they managed it so neatly, but those are penned in, if you want to call it that. That is not real purfle. As a matter of fact, you can see that. You see that right there. It looks like the pen was a little thick and blobby right there in the corner. And not only, but that you can see the wood grain right through from one side of that line to the other. So this instrument is not purfled at all. There's no purfling. Since we're looking at the back, there's almost no grain back here. No figure to the maple. It is maple, as are the sides, That's fine. This is the way it's supposed to be made. But yeah, very, very handmade instrument by somebody that was probably not a first-class violin maker. Dare I say that? Since there's no purple and these are just little lines that have been drawn on there. No purple over here. But I want to show you something. I want you to see the curve in the belly on this. And I'm sorry, not the belly, but the front of the instrument. It's got a really high arching. And that's part of what gives it the sound. That's part of what gives it the sound. It's got very nice high arching. You can see it. You can see right there when you... And it is very, very consistent. This is not a botched job up here on the top. It's pretty well done. They may not have had the best materials, although this spruce is really pretty good stuff. It's pretty fine grain. Yeah, not bad. Anyway, the other thing I'm going to show you, and by the way, if you want to get a full breakdown on this, go to my other video that I have on this instrument, where I did a full workup on it. This is just a supplemental to the rest of the video that I started last night. The other thing I'm just going to comment here, by the way, I made this tailpiece. This is rosewood, and I made that tailpiece from scratch. But this, I love the scroll on this. Very masculine. Very masculine. It's not a Stradivarius, but you can see it's nice, just really nice fluting, clean, even fluting. And like I said, very, very masculine. Love it. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get the strings, these old strings off from it. They've been on there for many, many, many years. And put my new asside, I think that's how you pronounce it, violin strings on. Those are not cheap strings. They're not the most expensive, but I think I paid $30 for those. Anyway, and the other thing I'll mention from last night that I mentioned, that the bridge is tilted slightly forward. You don't see it as much from this side. That's not too bad. Anyway, yeah. So we're going to take all these off, put new ones on, then we'll get back to you. This thing is beginning to grow on me, and like I said, as Russell Flagg once said, this is one you can grow into, and I'm looking forward to it. Well, I'm going to just add this one short thing to this video. I went ahead and put the new strings on my old Castleton violin, and they're horrible. They're just horrible. With my old steel core strings, at least the sound was even and clean. These, I'm sorry to say, the G and the D are just flat out wolfy. You can't get clean sound out of them. The A's a little better, the E's fine, but I was shocked. And I almost have to say that it was almost a waste of money. Now, I can try it on another one of my violins. I don't think it's going to make any difference because it's going to sound about the same on any violin. So anyway, well, that being said, they are a synthetic core, and they're not a regular solid core string, a wound solid core string. They're a synthetic core, and they are very resonant. You can hear them. But you can't get when you're taking your bow and dragging that horsehair over it, it just gets wolfy. Anyway, enough on that. So what I'm going to do, thankfully I saved my all strings. I think I'm going to put them right back on because at least this violin sounded really good with the old steel core strings on it. Okay, anyway. Enough bemoaning here. I just thought that I would add that to the mix. Now, on your violin, these strings may be doing fine. I mean, if you go in and order the same strings, I already mentioned the brand name. Otherwise, I probably would have withheld that. But anyway, yeah, not happy. Not happy. I think I just kind of spent my money for nothing.